Well, with the fact that it is an off day, why don't we talk about all sorts of things today? Let's talk about Ovi because we haven't done that enough. Let's talk about injuries because we haven't talked about that enough. And you know what? We did the Metro essay. Let's just take a look around the latest news from today because there has been some here on Locked On Caps.
Your Locked On Capitals, your daily podcast on the Washington Capitals. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Capitals. I am your host, as always, the insider to the insiders, Tyler Kuehl. Yes, guys, it is the odd off day. The reason why it's an off day for the Caps, well, kids, it's because they're having a back-to-back later this week, but we'll get to those games later on. Today, we're going to take a little bit of a different approach. Yes, it's just me today. Unfortunately, we're not able to get John Walton, like I said on yesterday's show, on the program today. A little worse for wear. He's going to take some time. He's going to get that extra needed day off as well to kind of recuperate on his side of things. We'll get him later on down the line for sure, but that's okay. We're going to talk about Alex Ovechkin. Why? Because he hit a milestone, at least tied a milestone. Has a chance to break it. We'll talk to you how he got to this point. We're going to talk about the injuries because guess what? They even got better the other night against the... Who did they play? That's right. They played... Who did they play? The Buffalo Sabres. For some reason, I'm like, no, wait. See, that's how long it's been. I'm like, I'm not used to doing off-day games. I'm supposed to like, oh, here's the team they played last night. I'm like, it was 2 nights ago. Well, we'll get ready for that. Also, we'll kind of preview what we have going on tomorrow's show as well, and the big news coming out of the league today, which also includes stuff that literally just kind of came out right before we started recording this show, coming out of Anaheim. Yikes. Bad times in the National Hockey League. As well, that's just how it's been the first few months of the season, first couple months so far at least. So we'll get to all that and more, but I got to say thank you guys very much for making Locked On Capitals your first listen and first watch of the day. Being available on all platforms. Yeah, guys, like you said, it's the third time this week we have been on the YouTube. YouTube Locked On Capitals is your favorite channel now. Subscribe and like us on there. Hit that bell to get the notifications every time we have a live episode, as well as watch or good and also listen on your favorite platforms as well, because you know some people just like to just listen, which I totally get. You know, sometimes it's a lot to have a lot of those things, you know, being all trying to get all involved with, you know, driving around and you're at work. Like I myself, there's a lot of podcasts that I like to listen to and I like to watch as well. Unfortunately, when I'm working in a studio or working somewhere else in another office, I can't really watch. I have to listen. So hence I just listen on my phone, but that's okay. That's why we do both here. So you can listen, or if you want to see me flail my arms like a buffoon, you can watch as well. So let's get on the page of, you know, it's crazy that I'm thinking about this. Alexander Ovechkin. I was 9 years old. I was just thinking about this today on my way home from work. Yes, by that, I pretty much, you guys should probably figure out by now that I'm recording this on Tuesday night because, well, I like to get up in the morning, not at 5 o'clock. So please indulge me for a moment. I was 9 years old when Alexander Ovechkin was drafted, the 2004 draft, drafted first overall. I was 10 when he first took to the ice in the 2005-2006 season. When he started, I said to myself, this guy is a tool, because he wanted to do the tinted visor, had the cellies and all that stuff. And I thought, oh man, this guy's too big for his britches, right? That's let's be honest. A lot of you guys thought that as well. A lot. Don't lie to me. Except for, I mean, well, I know Caps fans, you guys have loved him for a very long time. The Caps fans, of course, because he's scoring goals for your team. But people outside the Caps organization, outside from other fan bases, that's what we all thought for the longest time. But as the season started to go on and on and on, and you said to yourself, well, this kid is a really good player. Despite the ominous failures in the playoffs for the Caps as a team, he was continuing to pot goals after goals after goals, and it just seemed like it was never going to stop. That was the crazy thing about Alexander Ovechkin. We went into this season with the talking of if he's going to break Gretzky's record and when he's going to do that. But the thing that I don't think a lot of us focus on, because the common notion, and I myself fell victim to this kind of connotation or belief, if you will, for a number of years, that Alexander Ovechkin is a one-dimensional player and only scores from one area of the ice, mainly because typically when we see him on the highlight films, because if you ever watched ESPN back in the day, it's the only time you ever saw him was shooting from that side of the ice. But if you break down Alexander Ovechkin's game, he is more than that. Obviously, he's always been a very physical player. He's either going to score a goal or he's going to be physical, make a play defensively. We saw it the other night, had a great back check against Philadelphia. The guy, certainly at his age, despite the fact that he's 37? He's how old is he now? He is 36 years old, going to be 37 within the year. And he's still playing at the top of his game. He scored 11 goals in 12 games, guys. 21 points in 11 games. And yes, I know it's the early stage of the season where scoring numbers are through the roof. Everyone has a shot to score 5 goals. Hello, Edmonton. We see you over there. But here's the thing. Alex Ovechkin, at his age, is still producing and is averaging close to 2 points per game. 2 points per game for a guy that we all thought was going to tail off after that 65 goals. Was it 65 goals he scored a couple years back? 65. He hit 65 in 08 and was like, all right, that's the peak. That's it. You're right. That was the peak. But the regression really never came. Yes, 11-12 with Dale Hunter coaching. Yeah, that's a very defensively minded head coach, and he wanted that out of Alexander Ovechkin. In comes Barry Trotz a couple years later and says, guys, this guy doesn't do that. He doesn't play defense. He can play defense, but he's meant to score. And you play your best players to your strengths. That's what Barry Trotz started to do, even with the fact that Alexander Ovechkin was never going to be the defensive player that a lot of players want him to be. Barry Trotz could have easily done the Scotty Bowman thing with Alex Ovechkin and tried to turn him into a two-way player. And by the Scotty Bowman thing, I mean what Scotty Bowman did to Stevie Yzerman. Steve Yzerman once scored over 60 goals in a season. He's done 50 goals twice in his career. Fantastic hockey player. Was an offensive juggernaut in the 80s for the Detroit Red Wings and the early 90s too. But then Scotty Bowman came in by and said, you know what? You're right. I had Guy Lafleur. Had Steve Shutt. I had I kind of had Yvonne Cormier, not so much, but I had all these talented forwards on my team. But I had Bob Gainey, and that was a great player I had on my team. I need someone like that. Bob Gainey was never an offensive weapon, but Steve Yzerman was an offensive weapon, but he turned him into a defenseman. That's what Barry Trotz could have done. Instead, though, he's like, you know what, Ovi, you keep scoring. Since that 07-08 year, he has hit 50 goals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. The last time coming in 2018-2019. And when we all thought that the Stanley Cup hangover was going to do the Caps in, it did him in the playoffs, just not Ovechkin's statistical, statistical progression, because he only scored 49 the year they won the Cup. The fact of the matter is, Ovi still finds a way to produce and score goals. And the crazy part is, guys, this is why I'm kind of annoyed by the fact that people still say he's a one-timer. Look at the goal. We talked about the goal he scored on Monday against the Sabres. A high tip. And we tweeted about it. Noted net front presence, Alexander Ovechkin. That is just the epitome of showing that Alex Ovechkin just knows how to score goals. It doesn't matter where he is. Yes, his one-timer is lethal. It still is. It's amazing. He can still dart down the wing and score on a breakaway. But look at some of the highlight reel goals he had. He's danced around defenders. He's did a barrel roll on the ice. Everyone remembers that goal against the Phoenix Coyotes at the time, even though they were in Glendale at that point. Nonetheless, against the Coyotes, you all remember that goal. That wasn't a one-timer, now was it? It was him making the Coyotes look bad, but at that point, let's be honest, it didn't take a whole lot. But that's my point. Alexander Ovechkin is a talented, versatile player. That is why he's been able to score so many goals for so long. He scored 741 goals, guys, in this being now his 16th season. It's incredible of how good he's been for how long he has done this. I mean, seriously, how many guys? I mean, I'm trying to think of all the 30-year-old guys that have scored over 50 goals, 30 plus. Mike Bossy was one, I think. Did Mike Bossy ever get to the age of 30? Because I remember he scored 50 goals a year through 9 seasons, and then he didn't hit it in his 10th season. He left. I don't remember if he got drafted right as an 18-year-old. Nonetheless, there's not many guys that are able to do it for as long as Alex Ovechkin has. There's going to be a record eventually, and based on the fact of how many years that Ovechkin in his 30s or 35 and up, if he continues on here as I knock on this wooden table, of goals scored by someone at that age. Marilyn Lemieux's a gifted goal scorer. He didn't really do that when he was 30 up. Mike Bossy didn't. Wayne Gretzky didn't. Gordie Howe never even scored 50. The fact of the matter is this. Alexander Ovechkin, I've tried to put it off for as long as possible because I didn't want to say I didn't want to believe it. But as someone who's on the outside looking, I'm like, yeah, this guy's good, but he's, doing the hot stick celebration against Mike McKenna of the Tampa Bay Lightning. You guys remember how dumb that thing kind of looked? We all thought he was kind of the tool, Mike, but the more you watch, the more you respect the fact that as long as he's been playing, no matter how good or I don't say how bad the team is, because the first couple of years are bad, but now since then they've only been at worst a 8th or 7th place team. This team has found ways to get him the puck, and he's found ways to continue to put the biscuit in the basket for so long. And that's what makes his career, even if for some catastrophic reason he does not do it, he does not break the ultimate record, he is the best scorer in the history of the National Hockey League. Gretzky was great. He's the great one. No. Gordie Howe, Mr. Hockey. No. Jaromir Jagr, Mr. Longevity, gray beard, skating after games, doing wind sprints when he's 47. No. Alexander Ovechkin, no matter how his career ends up, no matter if he hits 1,000 or only stops here at 741, will be known as the greatest goal scorer in the history of the National Hockey League, bar none. That is why no matter when he retires, no matter when he hangs him up, it's going to be an immediate, maybe not immediate. I think they'll maybe do the 3-year thing with him, but I would not be shocked if they say, you know what, Ovi, you're going to the Hall of Fame right now. Because only so often do we see greatness before us for so long. Even that's the crazy thing, guys. Like, yes, it was the Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin show when they first came in the league. We'll end this on this one here. When Ovi and Crosby came in the league, there was so much high expectation. Which one was better? Well, Crosby won the cup in his 4th season in the league. Crosby's better, right? Crosby wins in 16 and 17. Wins a gold medal as well. Crosby's better. Well, yeah, Crosby's better, I'd say, in terms of the fact that, yes, he's multi-time MVP, multi-time MVP candidate, Art Ross winner, fantastic hockey player. But as good as he has been, Ovi, in terms of goal scoring and just the consistency of his production and the numbers of how long he's done it, they've rarely ever tailed off. The only reason why they only got 24 goals last year, because he got injured and had the COVID 4-game suspension against him. That's why Ovi didn't even hit 30. He could have easily hit 35, let's be honest, the way he played last year. That's how good Ovechkin is. And never in his career have we seen him go down like this. So, I mean, we're all pulling for him. I don't think anyone's really doubting that. We're all hoping that he does it. Because, boy, that'll be something that we all like to see. So, with that, we'll move on here. We'll get to the injury situation in a second, what this could mean for the Washington Capitals with the injury that happened Monday night. Nothing really been disclosed today. Caps had the day off, like I said. We'll get to that, though, in just a moment. But, guys, in case you don't know, Shopify is a complete commerce platform that lets you start, grow, and manage a business. The subscription-based software allows anyone to set up an online store and sell their products, and Shopify store owners can also sell in physical locations using the Shopify POS. in our point of sale app and accompanying hardware. It gives entrepreneurs the Shopify the resources once reserved for big businesses so upstarts, startups, and established businesses alike can sell everywhere with synchronized online and in-person sales and effortlessly stay informed. So right now, go to shopify.com/lockedonnhl, all lowercase, for a free 14-day trial and get full access to Shopify's entire suite of features. Grow your business with Shopify today by going to shopify.com/lockedonnhl right now. And guys, you guys heard about Built Bar. I told you guys about it a time or two, right? And I love Thanksgiving, all the food and treats you can get, but some are just full of calories and sugar. That's what we like. But it's perfect time though for Built Bars because it's the new holiday dessert because you can feast on something delicious and feel good about it. Replace the coconut cream pie with a coconut Built Bar or go for a raspberry Built Bar instead of the raspberry pie. Lots of good flavors and to replace any pie. Low calories, low carbs, low fat, high protein. And the chocolate flavors, guys, you can cover them in 100% chocolate. That's what they are. Nothing like a Built Bar Black Friday either because mark your calendars because Black Friday will be a huge event with all sorts of surprises and deals. Go to Built.com and use the promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your order by using the promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off at Built.com. Now, let's talk about the injuries here. This has been obviously an issue, and I'm going to throw it up on the screen here for you. The amount of injuries that we have. That's only a few of them, only 3 of them, but those are the big 3 because these are injuries that are considered right now rather indefinitely. Nicholas Backstrom, Anthony Mantha, and TJ Oshie. Now, Nick Dowd was in the lineup last night, but just randomly on a back check, all of a sudden goes down with an injury. Nick Dowd, who is, listen, we're pulling for the guy because the amount of injury troubles he has had and the fact that he's not been able to put together long stretches of healthy hockey has certainly put a real mark on his career and really brought the guy's confidence down. And having that happen to him, because remember, he was out a few games because in a morning skate, he got injured with a lower body injury, tries to come back on Monday night against Buffalo and has his leg just gave out on him. I don't know what happened, if there's an ankle issue. No one, of course, the Washington Capitals are doing their best hockey mentality and saying it's a lower body injury. Well, yes, it's a lower body injury. He was grabbing his leg. You hope he gets better soon, but right now I think the concern is what is going to happen with this hockey club moving forward. Nicholas Backstrom is still no timetable for his return. Skating, full pads, but he hasn't really taken much of a hit and hasn't really been going full tilt skating by himself. TJ Oshie, as far as we know, is still in a walking boot. He is on IR, but not LTIR as of yet. Anthony Mantha had shoulder surgery, and he's indefinitely on IR as well, trying to recover from that. Those guys, dare I say it, unless something crazy happens, are going to be out until Christmas. Let's be honest. Backstrom, Oshie, and because unless Oshie's able to quickly bounce back and is able to get some good rest and have some good turkey and that special turkey on Thanksgiving, he ain't coming back anytime soon. Same thing for Anthony Mantha. So right now, all of a sudden, these holes are opening up, and we talk about guys like Brett Leeson and Hendrix Lapierre, who didn't play Monday night, but definitely with Nick Dowd back out of the lineup, we may see him in. Axel Janssen-Folby got into the lineup the other night as well, his first NHL game. No one's been called up yet from Hershey. Now, we don't know if there's probably plans, but we haven't heard anything yet of who could be going in there. I know we saw a good chunk of Alexei Protas there the one game. He was on the ice for Brett Leeson's first goal. One guy that was brought to my attention a while back, I'm going to see if I can quick pull up his name, the guy that tweeted at me. The host of the Grit and Bear podcast, Richard Blosser, tweeted at me when I asked him, like, all right, time to see Alexei Protas come back up to the Washington Capitals, which, you never know. You could obviously fill in guys to play center, but he mentioned a guy and he said Michael Scarbosa. Now, I say Scarbosa maybe because here's the fact of the matter is this. I think Scarbosa's, he started off and he's having a great year down in Hershey right now. Through the first 10 games, he leads the team in points with 4 goals and 4 assists. Only a couple guys behind him. Axel Janssen-Folby is another that we obviously got to see. Alexei Protas, who only has 5 points in the first 8 games. Scarbosa would be an interesting one because he is 29 years old. And for any folks that kind of know how the Montreal Canadiens system is kind of right now, they have a guy by the name of Alex Belzile who is about 30 years old, got his first bit in the NHL last year. I think he scored 2 against the Toronto Maple Leafs or got a point. But the fact of the matter is this, he's always been a guy that can tear it up in Laval, but just can't quite get it going at the National Hockey League level. Scarbosa, I'm not quite sure on his stat. Let's see what his NHL numbers are, if I can remember off the top of my head. He played 5 games last year, picked up 2 assists for the Caps, played in only 2 games in 1920 for the former Florida Panther Anaheim Duck. Does have quite a bit of National Hockey League experience. He's played 55 games, has 2 goals and 10 assists. The most he's played at any stretch was during the 16-17 season for the Florida Panthers, where he scored 2 goals and 5 assists in 29 games before getting dealt to the Anaheim Ducks. So, yeah, and statistically, Scarbosa could be an option. And to Blosser's point, he is a center, which the Capitals kind of need right now. They need some more guys in there. And, we talked with JJ Reagan about it last week. A lot of the young kids are playing bigger minutes because they have to. Now, yes, Brett Leeson and Janssen Falby only played about, 5 minutes on Monday night. I get it. Peter Laviolette's trying to win hockey games here, and Connor McMichael, of course, played 15 minutes because Connor McMichael, that's why. But I really think you start giving these kids more opportunities here. Now, granted, yes, in the third period of a game like last night, where at some points, or Monday night against Buffalo, where it was only a 1 or 2 goal game at times, I understand that. But if you can kind of open up the game a little bit, get a couple goal lead, I know these next couple are going to be tough because you got Detroit tomorrow night and then Columbus on Friday. 2 not easy games by any stretch of the imagination. I can see why you'd be hesitant, but you know what? Give them a couple more shifts in the first period, a couple more shifts early in the second period. Before the game gets down to the nitty gritty where you need your top guys out there, let the third and fourth lines get out. Let the kids get out, get some more legs on them. And maybe Brett Leeson may score a normal looking goal. Hey, there's one. And maybe you'll see an opportunity for guys like LaPierre get back going again, because that goal we thought was going to propel him in that first game, he was off to the races, right? Well, he's been pretty quiet since then. So I'm curious to see how Peter Laviolette manages team moving forward. They're going to have to call someone up, right? I think they have to call someone up from Hershey to get into the lineup tomorrow night against Detroit. We'll have to wait and see how that all happens. Hopefully it gets figured out sooner or later, because, if there's any positive kind of silver lining we can take from all this, is the fact that all these injuries are happening now. Because typically every team goes through an injury bug at some point in the season. Now, a lot of teams are seemingly have it across the NHL right now. So if it happens now compared to later, great. Now, I'm not saying this means that there is going to be no injuries later on. There is still a chance. Welcome to the sport of hockey, where it's a contact sport where guys are going about 25 to 30 miles an hour. Guys are destined to get hit and hurt. But typically, historically, this kind of happens where a lot of guys get hurt at certain times of the season. Thankfully, this may be the time right now as I knock on this wooden table for the Washington Capitals. So let's hope this means that better days are ahead and healthier bodies are ahead for the Caps. So breaking news, sort of, here coming out of Washington Capitals camp. Vitek Vanacek just went under shoulder surgery. Yeah, so that's a thing. And literally, I should probably make this clear. I'm adding this in right now. I was in post-production, and ready to submit this whole thing for the show. And Capitals PR decides that, that they're going to make this announcement. Sorry, I'm trying to retweet this out right now. So, thanks, Caps PR, for not quite ruining my night, but almost doing so. Vitek Vanacek. All right, so if you guys remember the play that was probably in question here, Jeff Skinner, right after the goal by Colin Miller. Colin Miller, yep. Right, yeah. For the Buffalo Sabres, makes it 5-3. Jeff Skinner has a great chance in front of the goal late in the first period, third period, excuse me. Ends up falling into Vitek Vanacek, hits him right in the left shoulder. His head kind of turns, and I thought to myself, oh no. And I was right. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, you TikTok users out there. And so, yeah. So, add to the injury problems, Vitek Vanacek. So now the goaltending situation. Hello, kids. We have a back-to-back now. Yeah, so, Ilya Samsonov's going to play, obviously. But what does this mean now? Do we hear the name Zach Fucale? Do we dare hear the words of Hunter Shepard? I got to pull up the Hershey Bears thing now because I wasn't quite sure on what the deal was. Thank you to timely manner in here. Here's the crazy thing in all this. First of all, I'm not totally giving it to the to Caps Caps PR because they're just doing their jobs. I'm not mad at them. Let's go to the goalies here. So Hunter Shepard has not played. Phoenix Copley so far this year is 2-2-1 with a 2.75 goals against average and a 901 save percentage. Zach Vucali in 5 games so far is 3-0-2 with a 1.73 goals against average and a 9.33 save percentage. Guys, it is time to see Zach Vucali in the NHL. I think this is it, guys. This is his opportunity because I'm sorry, you're not playing Samsonov back-to-back games. You have Detroit and you have Columbus. Now, you can play the method here if you want to say, all right, let's get the winning. Yeah, obviously, Detroit's playing well, so is Columbus. You have to try to pick one or the other. You're not just going to say, hey, Vucali, you're going to start tomorrow night. But then again, that could totally happen. By the time this comes out, by the time you hear this on Thursday or Wednesday, whatever the heck it is, there's a good chance he may get a call up, may have a chance to play. But we'll have to wait and see. Well, this just ruined my night. Like, seriously, like, I thought I was going to be done. I was going to have this, but no. Vitek Vanacek has to have shoulder surgery. Could someone have texted me this? Say, hey, Tyler, it's going to happen today. Just letting you know. It went successfully. Thank goodness. He's week to week, which at this point could mean 2022. It's shoulder surgery, guys. And he's a goaltender, too. You know, some players can sometimes kind of get away with it a little bit. Goaltenders cannot because, hello, your glove goes up and down like this, and this thing needs to be working. So, yeah, the problems continue here for the Washington Capitals. Yikes. Gosh almighty. All right, hopefully, like I said, hopefully this is the end of the injury bug. Let's just hope so because I have all had enough of it. We'll get to a couple of the big stories from yesterday in the NHL. A couple of real important ones. One is they're both big news stories, but in just different facets. But first, guys, I got to tell you that BetOnline is back and better than ever with a new web interface for the start of the NHL season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all of the hockey action this season. Head to their new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use the promo code LOCKEDON to receive your bonus. From basketball, football, baseball, NHL, boxing, UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers for the 21-22 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. Quickly here before we get to the news, let's take a look at the scores that are going to be the games that are happening on tonight. Now, like I said, as the time I'm recording this, the games are still going on Tuesday, so I'm not going to know anything that happens. But only 3 games on tap for Wednesday night. Toronto taking on Philadelphia at Wells Fargo. That could be interesting. Toronto trying to bounce back from a tough loss against the Los Angeles Kings on Monday night. Philly has not played since Saturday when they beat the Washington Capitals. So it'll be the fresh Flyers against maybe the determined Leafs in a big primetime matchup. Nashville heads out and take on Dallas. Dallas, the crazy stat of having yet to win a regulation game. That's right. All of their 4 wins have come by overtime or shootout so far this season. Nashville trying to bounce back after a tough loss the other night to the Chicago Blackhawks in overtime. Minnesota going down to Arizona. The TNT game of the night. Good Lord. They take on the 1-10-1 Arizona Coyotes. Oh, Kenny Albert, God bless your soul, man. So let's get to the news of the day. First one I want to get to is Bob Murray. The general manager and executive vice president of the Anaheim Ducks has been placed on administrative leave pending an ongoing investigation related to professional conduct. The Anaheim Ducks has said, quote, "We recently became aware of accusations of improper professional conduct against Bob Murray. After internal review, we enlisted Shepard Mullen to perform an independent investigation. Upon recommendation from their initial findings, we have decided to place Bob on administrative leave pending final results. In the interim, Vice President of Hockey Operations and Assistant General Manager Jeff Solomon will assume the role of interim general manager. We will have no further comment until the investigation is complete," end quote. Well, yeah, so that's a story, eh? Kind of out of left field, given the fact that everything's gone on lately. Obviously, there is the whole Kyle Beach story with the Chicago Blackhawks. Now there's John Doe 2 coming after the National Hockey League, asking for their assistance, with the NHL saying no, you have to go to the Blackhawks, which Not going into that because the NHL is doing a really good job of making me not really like them right now. After all the praise I was giving Gary Bettman over the past year of how he handled this team during the pandemic, how he handled the league during the pandemic, and how he's able to help the league push forward and do so in a positive manner. And the last couple of weeks made him look like quite the goof, and I'm just going to leave it at that. But now we have this with the Anaheim Ducks, and obviously this one's really nothing's really come out of it. No, we haven't really heard anything based on the fact. I mean, it's not like the Arizona Coyotes with their interesting ownership. Obviously, the Chicago Blackhawks story has stemmed for now a little over a year, thanks to the good folks like Rick Westhead, Katie Strang, and among others that have kept the story going. This one kind of just came out of the blue, so we're going to have to obviously keep our ears to the ground, keep our eyes open to see what could come of this. This obviously will not be something that's solved in a couple of days. At least we think. Obviously, things are crazy nowadays, and there's a lot of resources out there to make things happen quickly. So we'll have to wait and see on that retrospect. The other big news story that's something a little bit personal to me, and that is Carey Price. Carey Price has returned to join the Montreal Canadiens, but not as a goaltender. As of right now, he's come back to the team facilities, kind of started working out a little bit, but he made it public on what he did when he went to go be a part of the NHLPA player systems program. What he did was he checked into a residential treatment facility for substance use. He said, I posted a message on Instagram. I'm paraphrasing here because it's a very long thing. Go ahead and go find it, guys, on Carey Price's Instagram. It's been retweeted. I've retweeted it. Our show has retweeted it. It is something that not many players do. Bobby Ryan, I remember when he had his alcohol abuse issues, came out a few years ago and said, I have a problem. But this was after he came out of rehab, out of the player assistance program. And I thought that was a great story, first of all, because the first thing I thought was, because Bobby Ryan, yes, he was not Bobby Ryan from his days with the Ducks and whatnot in his first couple of years with the Ottawa Senators. I get that, but he was still, for a lot of us, a prominent player. And I remember I was cheering for him when he went to Detroit and had a good start last season. I said, man, yes, that's what we need. Bobby Ryan doing well, because that's cool to see. It was a great comeback story for him. And now we see Carey Price, one of the best goaltenders in the world, still taking time away from the game to focus on his mental health. And I'm a big proponent of mental health. I tell people, if you need help, go get it. My wife herself, she's also a big advocate for it, because she's someone who struggles with mental health and does so on a daily basis. And, I myself am, I'm her husband. I'm her support beam, and I'm supposed to help her and whatnot. And she's been a very big part. She's on previous shows. She's actually come on my show to talk about this sort of thing. And it's something very powerful. And to see a guy like Carey Price come out and be very open about what he is going through. Yes, he didn't really specify what he had done, this type of stuff, the substance that he used. Everyone can kind of go on what he was doing, what he used, whatever. I myself have theories, but I'm not going to really go into that because I'm not Carey Price. I don't know what he did. And that's not fair to him for me to say what he did. Carey Price, though, has made it open and public, and that he was willing to take time for not just, and that's the crazy thing too, guys. This guy has a wife. He has children, 2 beautiful girls. He took time from the game that he has loved for his entire life, that he's been one of the best at for the majority of his life, to say, I need to get better. How many of us do that? No one does that. No one who is at the top of their game says, you know what? I have a problem. I'm going to go fix it. And just do so so willingly. That's why I've always commended Carey Price. And I've loved Carey Price because I'm a goaltender myself. I tried to idolize and emulate after Carey Price. Very difficult to do. Hence why I'm doing this show for you all now. But the fact of the matter is this. I love Carey Price. I will support Carey Price. And even now, through these troubling times, I think we all should love and support Carey Price. And anyone, whoever needs help, please go out and get it. And for those that see people that need help, be that support for them. that will help make not just that person a better person, not just give them a better day, but help us as a society as a whole to make all of us, maybe this world as well, a better place. And I think that's a good way to end this episode of Locked On Capitals. Thank you all very much for watching and listening to today's show. Go ahead, guys, now make your second listen of the day, the Locked On Bets podcast, which is your daily one-stop shop for all of your gambling needs. Locked On Bets, hosted by your boy Q, with expert analysis and insight from Lee Sterling. We'll be back tomorrow. Got a guest coming on tomorrow. Talk about the Red Wings, because the Red Wings are a fun team to watch right now because they have a bunch of young kids and not all of you may know them. So we are going to bring in someone that knows a thing or two about these young lads and break down the Red Wings before their matchup on Thursday, taking on the Detroit Red Wings. On the Washington Capitals, it'll be a fun game Thursday night. We'll preview that game and more tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching this and listening to this episode. Be sure to follow us at Locked On Caps on Twitter. Follow me, the Insider of the Insiders, Tyler Kuehl, at TJKU29. Back tomorrow with another episode of Locked On Capitals.